now that that's a habit of yours that you're like, I gotta get out of that. Like even it can be super specific too. It doesn't have to be like very general.
A habit that I have to get out of.
Like when we were playing Just Then,
Okay.
the cover thing that we just did. What was like? Did you do anything when we were like trying to figure it out? Where you were like, I always do that.
Um, I don't know. I think whenever it's like, it's the weirdest thing. Like I've always been more nervous in more intimate settings.
Really
If it's like a big
interesting.
audience, it could be cameras rolling, and
And you're fine.
I'm fine.
So when we did Lala, you were like, it's whatever.
Yeah,
That's
you
fine.
could get all of it in my face, like it doesn't matter. But it's like the
Dang.
moment it's like a small like there. I guess it's because I feel like that person is now zoning in on you. It's
Yeah.
only three of us, so there's only,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Versus like whenever it's like something bigger, I guess I feel like, oh, they could be staring at anything, and even if they are staring at me, so what?
Like, who
I don't
cares?
know
Yeah.
what that is, and so it's like I've been trying to get out of the habit of just not thinking so much about the distance between me and that person, like allowing myself to be a little bit more vulnerable because, like, you know me, like we can go all day, just
Totally.
idea for
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
after idea, and I remember like when I was younger, you know, the trick with me, just press record. Don't tell me if we are
Okay.
recording.
I get that
Do
though.
not tell me.
I
Yeah,
get
I
that
was
because
like
like it's
that.
the juice. Like if the juice is there, it's
It's
there.
there. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
would just boop, press a chord, and I would come up with all this great stuff, and like people would be like, "Yo, you gave me so much."
Nice.
Because I was just being in my own little world. I wasn't really thinking so much about, oh my God, this is printing, this is like,
So when you're
you know what
writing
I
for
mean?
your own music, how much, like how many reps do you do just to like come up, just to like write the right part? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like honestly with producing, it's a little different. Like when I'm producing it, I feel like I get into a mode of like so many ideas are coming to where I will just record, and then go back and just clean
That
it
makes
up.
sense.
Anything that I
Yeah.
wanted to clean up later on.
Is that always the process you've done, or did you find that process somewhere?
I think I've always done
Yeah.
that. Is it a good thing? Maybe. Like,
I mean, I think it's cool.
but
It works,
it
right?
works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it gets me to be able to not think so much about the perfection of it, because if you're so focused on trying to perfect a thing, you kind of lose a little bit of like the magic in it, like a
Yeah.
little bit,
I
because
agree
it's
with
like
that.
I think ideas are not meant to be these like picture perfect, like even quantizing something
Oh,
sometimes is
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And we talked about it like on the
Yeah, well, yeah.
bus, like when we were talking about like, pitch correcting and stuff like that. Like when I'm pitch correcting vocals, I don't, I like it a little off or
Yeah.
a little like not quantized. Like I got one song that it is not on the click, but when I put it
Nice.
on the click, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't, it loses that like essence or that feel. So it's kind of
Did you
crazy.
ever? I remember playing and like this is like church pre-click era, pre that, and it was like I distinctly remember sometimes they would be like, yeah, when we get to this section, let's just speed up a little bit, and you would just like you would just start to rush,
You
and
do
it
it.
would become a completely different tempo.
Yeah.
That would never happen today,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. It feels like we kind of lost. We just like lost that as an option altogether, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But like that, which at that time was a legitimate creative thing, now would be looked at and be like, "What? You can't just play one tempo the whole time?" You know, now it would be like a
Yeah.
juvenile
It's a
thing or something like
juvenile
that.
thing. I mean,
It's fine.
in like context, like I said, depending on where you are, like of course, a lot of the stuff that's arranged nowadays is so like it has to be on.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on in the
Right.
arrangement. Like it has to flow right. It has to be like on, because not only are we depending on the click, the dancers are depending on the click.
Yeah.
Everybody, the lead singer has in here, so it's
Yeah.
like everything has to be so. Whereas like back in the day, I mean, I'm not that old, but I came from a generation that is from
Same.
that,
Same. Yeah. Yeah.
your parents, like, in their day, you you weren't performing if you weren't that good.
Yeah.
You weren't performing if, like even the lead, were they just the artist was that good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times they was Fred Hammond and them. Fred could play bass better than you know
Yeah.
what I'm
No
saying?
kidding.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a
Most
great bass
people. And
player.
so, translating that to today, where it's just like you kind of, because technology is kind of taken over, it has kind of forced this perfection. I actually watched an interview with Fred Hammond where he was talking about how Glory to Glory was created.
Oh,
You know, it was an
nice.
accident.
Really? Dang. Which part was the accident?
The glory to glory
So the
to
words were the accident, or
glory.
like the?
That wasn't the song. That wasn't even a song. I think.
Oh,
I think when I was watching it, he was like, "That was not a song.
that
Like
wasn't
that wasn't the way the song was supposed to go." Like
crazy.
at that time they were just starting to use like MPCs and stuff like that, and so they pressed it to get the track to go, and the track started skipping.
Oh shoot! Nice. That's
And
cool.
he was going to stop it, but they were in the middle of the show, so he was just like,
Keep it going.
keep it
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's just that idea that, like, a lot of times I found that a lot of my best stuff has actually come through when I make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just about how well
That's
you
good.
can recover.
That's good.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a good recoverer.
Right, right, right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
when you
Yeah.
get to a certain point as like a musician or as a writer or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
your mistakes are good. They're just not what you intended the first time.
It's not what you intended.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
then if you just allow yourself to like, it's like if you accidentally spilled more sugar in something or
Yeah.
more salt or sauce or something like that. You're like, oh, I'll just rock with it. Rather than throw it all away and make a new dish from the
waste.
start. Yeah.
It's a waste.
Ooh, I like that. It's waste.
It is. It's
I
a
like
it's a
that.
big waste, and it's just like, I mean, we're talking about like music or mainstream music. I mean, come on, it came from a bunch of people who didn't even have like
Right.
a high school education.
Right.
Like, so they weren't doing things to be, it was expression,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
expression is not it's not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, we can't even talk perfectly. Like, we
Yeah.
stutter, we say, we do different things to try to express ideas. And I've been speaking English my whole life and I still mess that up. So it's like, what makes you think that now playing this,
It's gonna be the same. Yeah.
it's
right.
not going to be the same?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the idea of like you like what is it? Waste not, want not.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea of that in music
Yeah.
because there is a certain amount of like I mean you think about like some of that old church stuff like we just be playing for hours, actual hours of your fingers are just raw and you're
Yeah.
like Jesus, please come back right now. My hands, they hurt. But then, they're just still doing
They're
this on
going
the
for it, yeah.
and it's like you really do figure out a lot because you have to just by like sheer repetition.
Yeah.
I was telling a student yesterday, I was like, when you practice this, at first you're going to be feeling good. And then like the 30-40 second mark hits and you're just going to be bored. So bored. But like live there. Don't leave it. You know what I
Don't
mean?
leave it. But that's why I also think it's a good thing to kind of just be okay with keeping it simple.
Totally.
Like, I think we get bored because we're so used to playing so many. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Like, when I came out of gospel, I was a little bored. Like, I'm
Same.
sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a little bored. Like, not because like the music wasn't exciting. It was exciting, but it was just like, it's so like gospel is so free and so like you have to, it's like playing that game of like keeping your chops up and doing as much as you can, where it's like you get into more of the secular realm. It's like they want it on the money, especially in pop. Like, you gotta play the music, and that's great. Like I said, I love it because it allows you more freedom to entertain,
Right.
to be more free because you know exactly
Yeah, you
what
focus
you're
on
gonna
other parts
play.
of the performance.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
which it makes a lot of sense. But then it's just like sometimes my brain would just kind of check out because
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'm used to line,
Yeah.
chord change, line, chord progression, play this cool part right here.
Yeah.
Like,
Solo
it's so
for 4
like
bars.
all over
Yeah.
the place.
Right.
To where, and so like I said, that's when I kind of had to get into like other aspects of music or try to find a new subject to deep dive into that. Honestly, I notice every single time I come back to the guitar, when I learn something else, it helps me be that much better of a guitar player. You
What
know what
were
I mean?
some of the other things that you chose to dive into that you enjoyed?
Mixing.
Mixing. Oh.
Mixing really, like, as far as
Like full track mixing or like okay, okay.
like full song production mixing. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
really helped me because I'm a tone freak. Like, if my tone isn't right, I'm not happy.
Yeah, I feel
I
that.
mean, I'll still play, but
Yeah.
it's just I love my tone, and so I rather play clean and simple and have good tone than to have bad tone and be playing
I
all
think
like.
see that side note. That's where I'm mad at myself about guitar. Cuz like when I plug straight into an amp, I don't sound good. Like
Yeah.
like I love the like super clean like prickly strat thing and I suck at it so bad. And it's like and I keep thinking like what am I doing wrong? Like anyway, I'm going to figure it out.
It's in your finger. It's really in your fingers, and then like you have to feel like you gotta think guitar is a bass too. It's sensitive. It's a
Yeah.
sensitive instrument. So how you hit each note, how you like strum each chord. Like I remember I talked to you about like just how sometimes I will actually when I finger pick, I don't play with the same pressure on each string or
Yeah.
each finger. Like it doesn't like if I play like this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm not gonna try to make all of them, or even because I know a lot of my students who do that, they're
Yeah.
scared. I'm like, don't be scared.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's expression. Like it's supposed to move.
That's a hard thing to explain too.
Yeah.
I was talking about that with a student just yesterday again, and I or no no not yesterday. This was last week, and I was trying to tell her like when you play chords or when you play more than one note on the bass, you have to like get. At least for me, I get those inflections from something else. Like for me, it's either like a guitar or an organ in my head. That's like really where
That's
my
interesting.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that's like really where my 1 sec, I gotta turn everything back up.
Come on, Josh.
Okay, turning the knobs. Okay, knob turning. Okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, uh, uh,
But you see how you just hit that right there? If you're in the feeling mode, me naturally, I would stay there for just a little bit. I would let that.
I feel that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But most of like the world wants to go straight into something else to show you, hey, I got all these shots, and it's just
yeah,
like, it's not about that. It's
yeah,
it's a feeling. It's something that you're literally pulling out of yourself in order to express something. It's not so much about, like I always say, it's not what you play, it's how you play it.
yeah,
And if
absolutely.
you play it with a little bit more emotion, it makes it more real,
Yeah.
which is something that like people are like, oh, AI. It's like, yeah, but AI is never going to be able to duplicate.
Listen, the real
It
musicians
might,
are
I don't
not
know.
worried about AI.
Like,
I swear to you.
it might. I mean, you'd be surprised. AI is doing some incredible stuff, but like I think that is going to be the difference. Like it's like autotune, man. Like autotune, it makes it sound too. That's why something like Melodyne is so amazing because you're able to now still save the humanity of it without it becoming too
Yeah,
robotic.
I wonder, like, the same way that autotune went from, like, you're nudging things here and there to, like, all the way, it was, like, T-Pain, Lil
Yeah.
Wayne era, which had its, like, own thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder if AI is going to become that, if, like, there's going to be a version of AI art and music
Oh
that's,
yeah.
like, so
So yeah,
AI that you're like, oh, okay, that's the AI
and we're
thing.
all
You know what
dancing
I'm saying?
like
Instead of, like, the T-Pain thing, you're like,
yeah,
that's the AI thing. When we're
yeah.
really, when we say T-Pain thing, we're talking about autotune, a
Right.
version of autotune.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like I wonder if there will be like AI. You're like, okay, the human has 6 fingers. That's AI. You know what I mean? But it's like a
Yeah.
cool way of doing it. Who
Yeah.
knows?
But
Who
I think
knows?
like that's what I said. But even T Pain, the way he used auto tune
Yes, it's
was
very musical.
still very yeah.
It's
It
very
was still
musical.
very musical. It was still like it allowed someone who maybe not be a perfect singer to still sound like a cool, almost like
Something.
a synth or
Yeah.
something like that, like
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
lead or whatever, which was really cool, especially for
Super
our
cool.
time. Like that was not, nobody had done anything like that
Yeah.
before. So that's why I say it was super musical, and so that's why I say I think it's more so about finding that thing that is you, that is, like I always tell you, like lean on your tendencies. Like what
Yeah.
are your tendencies? Like they're not
Right.
always a bad thing. Like people are always trying to break people out of certain habits, but I feel like if it's something that is a good habit and you can coin it as you,
So how
why
do
not?
you, within yourself, discern this is a habit I need to change? Be- this is a habit I need to change, or this is a habit I need to keep, even though I'm bored with it.
I mean, it just,
Because that's a real thing.
if you like it, honestly,
Okay,
if
okay.
you like, and that's the thing is
That
like,
makes sense. That makes sense.
if you like it, I love it. Like if you like it and you keep doing it, and like for
That's
real, like
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't like if you don't like something, you're obviously going to change it. Like you can't force anybody to be somebody that they're not. You can't force anybody to, like for me, like a lot of people don't know. Like they're always like, "Oh, you came from gospel." I did, but I had a big rock phase that I went through, and so a lot of my solos were very distorted, heavy solos. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so what I
Yeah,
did
you sound great
was,
when you do that stuff.
huh?
You sound great when you do that stuff. My favorite moment when we go somewhere is when we're all just like, plugging in, whatever, and it's some, bum fuck town in like some city that is small. And but we're playing at whatever venue, and then the sound guy's back there, and we have Andrew, like our
Of
own
course,
front
we
of house,
love
which is cool.
Andrew.
But the there's always like other dudes there, and then you plug in and you're like, wow, 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 and you immediately do that, and everybody's like, I love that. I love that moment because it's so. I mean, it's not unexpected because I know you, but like it's unexpected for them, which is cool.
It's funny. It is because it is fun. It's unexpected, and that's the thing too. Is like when something is you, it doesn't, and especially if you don't like. Josh, clearly we know you be.
Oh,
Yeah, I already told you what my dad thinks about you.
yeah.
You
I
know
like
what
your
I'm
dad.
saying?
We're
Like,
friends now. I can tell you
yo, for
that.
real.
Me and your dad we're buddies.
Like I'm telling you, like it captivates people because it's like regardless of like what you look like, it's like, do you like it?
Yeah.
Does it feel good to
Is that
you?
you?
Does it
Yeah.
sit right in your body when you do it? Like, is this something that naturally
Yeah.
is gonna speak for you? It's like me, is if I was trying to change the way I talk, I can't do that. It's my vocal cords. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I can try, but it's gonna sound forced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I feel like what happens is a lot of times a musician or an artist becomes popular or trendy, and then everybody's like, oh, that's the thing. We all got to do the thing.
Yeah.
And that's cool if you want to learn that, add that to your repertoire, but there still has to be some space
Yeah.
that's left for you.
And that stuff is
You know?
tough too, because when people like when you're in a session and somebody's like, "Yeah, let's do a thing like so and so," you're like, "Yeah, but they're probably not buying from us." You know what I mean? Like, unless we're selling to them, I don't know. I get it, right? Like everybody's trying to like hop on the thing, hop on the next wave, the next fad for their career. Which again, I'm never gonna be like, huh, when somebody's just trying to make money. I completely get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough because you want to be in those spaces where you can create like authentically, but having goals is important when you're creating
That's, what I'm
also.
saying. That's inspiration, though. Like I think that you could categorize that as
like
I'm
that.
inspired by this person,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is great. I have inspirations too. I'm pretty sure there's, people that people can be like, oh yeah, I can tell she listens to so and so,
Sure,
so
yeah.
and so. But there's still, like I said, if you just leave a little wiggle room for you,
Yeah.
whatever that is, you know what I'm saying? If you can pinpoint that thing that is you,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, bring it to and the thing is that what most people don't understand is that you're going to have to keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about you, how many chords do you know, how many, like, sorry guys, but there's no such thing as the best.
Yeah.
It's just not. If you spend your whole life trying to be the best, you're going to end up finding out that you'll never be the best.
Yeah,
because there's always somebody that's going to be better than you. But, my uncle always told me, like, you can always be the best you and sell you
Yeah.
and make it so that when people pick you, it's because they wanted
Yeah.
you, which keeps you gigging, that keeps you working, that keeps you in any creative space. You know, why would I go get a girl that sounds like Janae Aiko when I can
Right.
just go get Janae
Yeah.
Aiko? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And
Why,
even when
like,
she was coming up,
yeah.
I wonder who in the room with producers, I wonder who they were referencing when they were talking about what she should do. You know what I mean? I didn't really listen to her early stuff, but there's like there's definitely like a few singers you could reference and be like, kind of like this and this person or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can always. That's what I said. Everybody's inspired by somebody. It's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem comes in when it's just like you're trying to be just like that person, or you're trying to do that style.
Yeah.
Like, let them do that style. Like, I think when I was in gospel, what helped was the rock stuff,
Yeah.
because I kind of saw that CCM was coming in, and a lot of the songs were starting to become guitar heavy songs.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's just like, I had the tone for it, I had the repertoires for it, and so when we would do that heavy stuff,
You were there.
my stuff sounded authentic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It sounded real.
Right.
And so, like, I had people all the time like, yo, can I borrow your rig? And what do you have on your rig? And what are you doing? And the thing is that you plug into my rig and you still don't sound
Yeah.
like
It
me.
just doesn't work like that.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't sound like you either. And
Right.
so, that's why I said, like, I think that's when I started to kind of catch on to, oh, okay, like, this is not necessarily about, of course, I'm going to get better. I'm going to keep
Sure.
getting better, but this is also more so about making my fingerprint in the
That's
industry,
good.
which is very unique. And
Yeah.
it's just like, no matter who comes behind me, even if they are better than me,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like me.
Yeah.
So you might get that call back because that person is not doing you, and they're going to be, hey, like, can you do this thing like she does? And if they can't do it, or if they have to sit there and it still doesn't sound like you.
Yeah. That was the tough thing for me at first about LA was because I came here doing one thing, which at the time I was way churchier, just in the way that I played.
Yeah.
And I was way more, it felt very like more improvisatory
Yeah.
when I was playing, just because I
Yeah.
was only playing live. I was never recording.
Oh.
But the thing is, at the
Yeah.
time, I was writing for a band that I was in at the time. So I really enjoyed writing. I just didn't approach bass playing that way,
That way.
like
Yeah.
with that kind of taste.
Yeah.
And then slowly, obviously when you're making that switch, because I went through a phase where I was in Nashville a lot, and it was a lot of like, hey, can you just play less? Hey, can you just play less?
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same as it is here. In Nashville, it was like I just didn't understand them at first. I didn't, I was probably same. I was probably like 19, 20, something like that. And I didn't grow up listening to country music. So it was like, I didn't have that sound in
That
my
sound,
head. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
I've been listening to pop music my whole life. And so you come here and it's not, can you play, for me at the time, it was not, can you play less so that you can like, it wasn't, can you play less because we don't like it. It was, can you play less so that we can chop it up and move it around and we can like write a part based off it.
Right,
That's what I
right.
didn't understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then eventually, I don't know what what it was, but I had a friend of mine say like, hey, I like what you're doing. Can you just do like 30% of that? And so that was my approach for a while. And then
Yeah.
I realized, which is so stupid, but I realized like, oh, I need to approach it like I'm writing a line,
It's a
not like I'm
producer
playing.
mindset
Exactly.
and a writer's mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was the
Yeah.
beginning of me having way more fun in LA in general.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
just like, I had already played a bunch of cover stuff. So the pop stuff I got, you know what I mean? It's like you learn the part, you do a little bit more sometimes, mostly you play the part.
Yeah.
But it was like, coming at it from a different creative lens for me was that like took me like maybe a year and a half or so to like really get
To
behind.
grasp onto,
Yeah.
I think that's interesting, like you say that, because like I think I didn't realize I had the producer mindset. I didn't, because I honestly I fought being busy a lot. I did. Like, I think I got in church and I started being busy, but
'Cause that's
just
what they
like
want. That's what they
that's
want.
what they want. And so
Yeah.
I caved and I was like, okay, yeah, I got to get busier. I got to, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I would, do the stuff. I would, come up with the parts, play off of other people. Like I learned a lot from the busyness. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Learning how to like play chords and then do like runs in the middle and then come back to the chord, like
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think what I always just loved about music was being able to come up with a part and it sounds so good to where I
Yeah.
just want to keep playing it over and over and
Yes.
over again. And that part made the song. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But
That's
it was like
good.
I didn't realize that that was a producer's mindset. I just thought I just like keeping it simple sometimes. Like sometimes I don't feel like it's
Oh, that's
necessary.
good.
And it wasn't until I was in a rehearsal
So you like
with,
redefined a tendency.
yeah,
You had the tendency to like, at the time you were like, oh, I just like to play simple, but that's not what it was. It was, I like to write something that has meaning to it and
meaning.
then continue to do that thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was, and
That's
I,
cool.
like I said, Josh, I had no clue that that was, and I guess I was the kind of kids where I just didn't care what everybody else thought. I
Yeah.
didn't care, like, how, like, it would be like, oh, you need to watch this person. And I'd be like, I don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now I don't care.
Which
Like,
you
I
need a little bit of
respect it.
that.
Yeah, you do.
You
Like,
do.
I respected it, but it was just like, it was never in my, like, orbit or my galaxy to even like be like, oh, I gotta be like this person. I think the only person I was like, I just want, and it was only because it was like, it was like a insider's thing. Me and my uncle, we, whenever I go to him, I just wanted to prove to him I got better.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? But everybody else, I wasn't trying to impress this person or that person or anything like that. I was just like, I just like playing guitar. I like music. This is what I got.
Yeah, this
You
is what
like
I
it?
do.
Thanks. You
Yeah,
don't?
yeah, yeah.
F it. Who
That's funny.
cares?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
is crazy. Like, now when I think back on it, I was like, dang, you were bold. Like, like, for real. Like, very bold. And it's like I said, it wasn't like I didn't care. Like, I didn't respect people who were better. Like, I would always sit down,
Of
especially with a
course.
lot of OGs, and be like, yo, I need
Yeah,
I
show
need
me
to
what you're
get with
doing.
this person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I think maybe that's where that mindset came from. Was like, because back in the day, they were so big on parts
Yeah.
and writing and like just always like jamming together to where it was just like that's what I was used to hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, it would just always feel good to me when, like I said, I would play something or I would have a tone that just sounded so good that like I would just strum something simple and I would sit at home and I've finagled so many pedal boards and tried to put them together and almost set the house on fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to create these sounds that were like big and lush and like, it just gave you a feeling. I just wanted to
Yeah.
feel. I wanted
Yeah.
an outlet
That's
for my
cool.
emotions. That's how I felt. It was just like when I strum this, it just goes bling.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Do you
Like,
remember what one of the first either musicians like locally or like artists that really you were like, dang, I feel that.
honestly, I feel that.
Maybe not in a sense where you're like, I identify with that, but it evoked such a feeling that it was like that it was noteworthy, like when you were younger.
When I was younger. Let me see. Uh, dang, Josh. Because, I grew up in a musical family, so it was so many times.
Yeah.
Like, But I think, like, the first person that I think that really made me rethink guitar or really made me feel like, dang, like, this is why I play. It was really Mateus, like, which, you know what I'm
Dang,
saying?
okay.
That wasn't, it was.
I
Like,
get that,
when he
too.
started doing the finger style, because I was already doing a lot of finger style. Like, I
Yeah.
started with classical, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That was my thing. I really loved the finger style guitars. And so when I saw him do it and him play with such an emotion, it made me feel like, yeah. Like,
That's cool.
That's what I
Yeah,
want
that's
to
cool.
do. It's not, I don't want to just be out here playing just to play. Like,
Yeah, right.
I want people to feel what I'm playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's not, and the thing is like, not everybody's going to feel, what I'm playing.
From
I'm
the
not going
same
to feel
thing.
what everybody
Yeah.
else is playing.
Yeah.
It's not the same, but it's just like, what's most important is that I
Yeah.
feel it,
I like that.
And so, like, a lot of times it's contagious. Like when we get into those like points where it's like when we lock in, I told you, remember Jose
yeah.
came up to us? It was like, yo, when y'all do that lock thing,
Yeah.
he feels
You can
it.
feel that.
Yeah,
You
it's
can feel
like
it.
he's like,
Exactly.
I feel it, you know?
Hey, Zoe.
Hey mama.
Are you guys recording still?
Yeah.
Oh.
Girl, you fine.
You're fine.
We're gonna edit this.
No, for real, you're fine. You're fine.
No, you're fine.
It's fine.
Fine. I feel like I'm appropriating a word if I do.
Girl.
Girl.
You.
Listen.
I love you.
Um.
We can break right
You
now.
want a break?
Yeah, let's
Yeah, we've been going for a little bit.